Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. Welcome to this week's Inside Arsenal Press Pass. Now, actually, before I get onto this little disclaimer, let me say hello to the boys first. Simon Collins of the Standard, Sam Dean of the Daily Telegraph. Hello, boys. How are you doing?
All good. All good.
Yeah, all good. Good to see you again.
Yes, it's been a while. It's been a while. Now, just to flag up to everyone watching this, you eagle-eyed observers there who may have watched last week's Press Pass show will be wondering why they're all wearing exactly the same clothes. It's because we're recording this literally as soon as we finished last week's show. We're recording this one, so this is a completely pre-recorded show. I'm going on holiday, or in fact, when you're watching this, I am on holiday. And just so you had some content, some of you, my Patreon members had some content to watch while I was away. We pre-recorded this show. It's just a bit of fun. This one. It's not going to be the norm. It's not going to be talking about the sort of the news of the day or anything like that. You know, by the time you're watching this, I very much hope that Victor GYOKERES has signed for Arsenal. He hasn't at the time of recording this, but I hope he has. And I hope that Mosquera has joined up with the squad in Asia. And I very much hope that Eberechi is on the brink of signing for Arsenal as well. That's probably not going to happen. But so, yes, we're pre-recording this and we're not talking about transfers or anything like this. This is just a bit of fun. We're all going to have a go at predicting our starting 11s for the opening weekend of the Premier League season when Arsenal head to probably one of the relegation favourites in Manchester United. On the opening weekend of the season, where did they finish? 17th last season, 16th last season. They finished just ahead of Tottenham, didn't they? So we're all going to have a go at predicting our starting lineups for that game. We're going to get our crystal balls out and maybe do a few other predictions in there as well. Right, that was a bit of a ramble to kick things off. So yeah, Old Trafford, looming large, not a place that Arsenal have a great hit. Has anyone here seen Arsenal win in a working capacity at Old Trafford?
Yes.
The 1-0 Aubameyang penalty?
I wasn't there for that. I missed that one. Were you guys there?
And then they went on to lose loads of games after that.
Yes, they did. They did. That was that. They broke the Old Trafford curse and then lost about 9 games in a row after that. Were you there for the Trossard winner at the end of that mad run when Arsenal nearly won the title a couple of years back? And right at the end, it was before the last game, wasn't it?
I was there for that because then we spoke to Saliba in the mix zone because our Spurs were playing City that week and he was all Spurs fans for one game.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one either. And I'm not going to be at Old Trafford on the opening weekend of the season either because my wife is running a half marathon, which means that I have to stay and look after the kids. Normally, I'd be very upset about that, but having seen Arsenal lose about 8 million times at Old Trafford.
Well, this means they'll win if you're not there. So
exactly. So I'm quite happy to be sitting this one out and watching it from afar. And so yeah, hopefully that will mean Arsenal win, and it's going to be important because the start of the season is pretty brutal. So 3 points on the opening weekend will be very nice. So we're going to talk about our predicted 11s for this game. Now, obviously, we don't know what's happening. We're recording this on July the 21st. As I said at the start, at the time of recording, GYOKERES has not been signed. I very much hope that he has been by the time everyone's watching this. So we're going to have to take all that into account and try and come out with who is going to start. So we're going to start. I think this one's going to be very easy. And you're not allowed. Who was the goalkeeper you wanted Arsenal to sign in the summer?
Well, I wanted two. I wanted Begovic and Fabianski, and they've done neither.
You're not allowed to choose Begovic here, so
neither at the time of recording.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Well, it might still happen. It might still happen. Mm-hmm. So I think we're all going to be. This is an easy one in terms of the goalkeeper. David Raya is going to be starting. We're predicting, barring any injury, of course. David Raya is going to be starting in goal for Arsenal. We're not going to see Kepa making his debut at Old Trafford, are we?
No.
No. Okay, so defence, is this going to be... I wonder if we're all going to have fairly similar views here. I think we probably all know... I don't know, is a right-back situation that cut and dry, do you think?
It's interesting, obviously, because Timber had surgery at the end of last season and was playing through quite a lot of pain for quite a long time, as he revealed in that interview, which was quite sort of galling, to be honest, the kind of pain he was in and the pain he was kind of hiding and masking from the coaching staff. So a lot will depend on how fit Timber is, I think, how fit and how sharp he is. And as you've mentioned, Charles, we're slightly hostage to time and fortune because we don't know how the first couple of preseason games have gone. And I think they'll be a good indication of Timber's fitness. But knowing that he has had surgery, admittedly more of a corrective surgery than anything totally major, I think there's a good chance that Ben White, who's had a as far as we know, a very clean pre-season and summer break. I think beyond having a baby, which I'm sure was quite taxing, I'm sure it's very taxing. I think Ben White could start that first game. So I'm gonna put my neck on the line a bit and say Ben White.
I think the right back is, we said it before, is probably the most competitive spot in the team. Do we think as well, just to throw a kind of curveball, devil's advocate, that the days of, because before White had his knee surgery in November, I think the last 3, maybe last 4 games, the back 4 was Timber left back and White back. Do we think the days of that are gone? Yes. Bear in mind that possibly Brian Mbeumo will be making his debut for Manchester United on the right wing, and if you wanted someone to shut him down for a player who's going to cut in on his left foot, Timber left back's pretty good solution.
No, I think those days are gone.
Okay, cheers.
See you next week. Thanks, chaps.
No, I think there's I think in certain games against big opponents and certain scenarios, I can definitely see Timber playing there again. And I think that's a good shout from a side that Mbeumo could be the sort of player you would want Timber there for, in terms of just sort of sheer defensive reliability. I wouldn't bet on it. I think Lewis Skelly's kind of the guy, and I think he'll start the season as the guy still. But I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we see certain games this season against certain opposition, maybe in Europe, like 2-legged ties, in which Timber does go to left back again. But clearly, Charles, you don't agree.
No. I'd be stunned if we see that, unless there's injuries issues to Lewis Skelly and Calafiori at the same time. Then obviously he's shown he can play that. But I'd be very surprised if we see that when those two are both fit. If White and Timber, it's really hard because sort of to answer this question, because is there definitely going to be a sort of first choice starting 11 under Arteta this season? I don't know. But if White and Timber are both absolutely 100% fit, do you think one is now, and by one I suppose I mean Timber, do you think he is now ahead of Ben White in the pecking order for Arsenal? Do you think he would be Arteta's undisputed first choice right back?
I don't know if in Arteta's mind he would be. I mean, for me, he would be. If I was picking my team for the Champions League final tomorrow, I would play Timber. But I don't know if that's, my mind is kind of skewed and wavered from probably not seeing a fully fit Ben White for, I don't know, 8-9 months. We're speaking in July now, wasn't it? So, and you know, sometimes it's easy to have a kind of recency bias or forget how good players were. And Ben White was brilliant when he was fully fit as a right back. So I just think it's kind of the absolute luxury and the position Arsenal want to be in, where it's this difficult to pick between who plays. I know it's really difficult to pick between those two, but that's the kind of squad depth you need to have, really. For me, I would have Timber as my right back if I was in that position. But I can easily.
I think I would as well. But again, I think, well, as you said, there's sort of recency bias. I do wonder if that's clouding our judgment a bit here, because that right hand side was such a weapon with Saka, Odegaard, and Saka. It was so important to how Arsenal played. And it's just not, they don't quite have that when it's Timber. And I do wonder if we've kind of forgotten, just because we haven't seen it enough of it for so long now, just how effective and good that was, that right-hand side.
I think you could ask 2 separate questions here. Question 1, out of Timber and White, who do you think is the better player with greater potential and more defensively solid and technically more assured? And I think I would probably say Timber. But if you ask the second question of which player makes Odegaard and Saka better, I think the evidence would suggest White. So the question there is, are you picking your best defender because he's the best defender? Or are you picking the player who best facilitates your best 2 attackers? And I would be inclined to think I'd rather have a 7 out of 10 right back than an 8 out of 10 right back if it results in Saka and Odegaard being 9 out of 10s.
Well, I think it puts Arteta in a position where he can just pick and choose given the opposition and given who he thinks they're going to be up against and what sort of threat they're going to face, or how much of an impact you think they can make in an attacking sort of view. So I mean, at Old Trafford, which obviously we're talking about here, who's going to be up against? Who's going to be down that left-hand side for United on the opening day? Because Mbeumo will be on the right, won't he? Cunha will probably be central. Who's going to be on the left?
Cunha could be the kind of left 10, couldn't he?
Right.
Yeah, it's very possible. We need to see what else United do in the market, I think. But yeah, Cunha will be sort of.
That's not really a player who's going to go on the outside or anything like that. Then if Cunha's sort of playing over there on the,
it's just whether Gabriel and Saliba can sort of deal with Højlund and Xerxes. That'd be my main concern.
Nicholas Jackson, by the sounds of it, maybe.
Yeah, Nicholas Jackson. Yeah.
I
think in that back four, I do think that is the one position that people will debate over. I think, and probably all season. I think people. Yeah.
Can I add one more thing?
Right. So for this game, you've gone White, haven't you, Sam?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go Timber as my right back for this game.
Can I add one more thing to the Timber discussion quickly?
Yeah.
I don't know this, but I had the feeling. So when we found out that he had been carrying an injury, I wasn't surprised, if that makes sense. So I thought in the first half of last season, there were some games when he was incredibly explosive and dynamic and overlapping and beating people and getting crosses in. And then I felt like in the second half of the season, his game was a bit more contained, a bit more reserved. And I think that's in large part because obviously Arsenal's attack had been obliterated by injuries. But I do wonder if, because he was playing through this pain and White was out, he had to manage his body to an extent. So I'm not sure we saw fully fit, fully sharp, adventurous attacking Timber in the second half of last season. So I'm really interested to see pre-season, depending how fit he is, how much he's able to kick on and push forward. Because on paper, I think people always assumed that Timber would be the more attacking option of him and White. But actually, in reality, I think last season it was White who was overlapping more and pushing forward more than Timber, who was slightly more reserved. So yeah. We'll see how different he is as a player without that injury pain, hopefully.
Yeah. I remember the Leicester game towards the start of last season when Arsenal won 4-2. It was a game I took my son to for his first game. Trossard got a late sort of winner. And I remember Timber setting up Martinelli's goal early on in that game, and he was bombing up and down the right flank a lot then. So I think you're right. You're right, Sam. That injury might have sort of limited his attacking forays forward in the second half of the season. So I've gone Timber. You've gone White. What are you saying, Si, for right back?
Timber, just.
Okay.
Very close, though.
Centre backs, I don't think we even need to obviously debate here. We know what those two are going to be if everyone's fit. Sorry, Christian Mosquera, if you've signed for the club by now at the time we recorded this, but I think Saliba and Gabriel obviously are going to be the starting lineup. So I suppose we've got a similar sort of debate on the left-hand side of what we just had on the right-hand side. But I think Miles at the moment, that is his position, isn't it? He's certainly ahead of Calafiori at the moment in that pecking order, despite I think what Calafiori can bring. But I'm definitely going Lewis Skelly left back at Old Trafford if everyone's fit.
I think he's got the shirt, doesn't he? I think he'll start the season with the shirt, and it'll be up to Calafiori to kind of wrestle it off him. Yeah, I'm in agreement, and I'm looking forward to seeing, because we've seen in the past how Arteta obviously wants his left backs to come into midfield a lot, and when Timber did it from left back, it was sometimes a little bit awkward, I think, because he's right-footed. But Lewis Skelly was sort of, I think, kind of starting to add that more and more with each passing game last season. And he just looks great doing it. And I'd like to think that Arsenal are kind of mapping out his trajectory and his development and kind of adding layers to his game. So I think we could see an even better and more enhanced version of Lewis Skelly as the season progresses. So, yeah, he's the man with the shirt, as you guys say.
Yeah, I am looking forward to Calafiori coming off the bench, though, and causing utter chaos
next for both season. Teams.
Absolutely for both teams. But again, those sort of the fullback options Arsenal have got are very, very strong, aren't they? And it does give Arteta the chance to rest and rotate and shape things up and play things a little bit differently. So that's good. So, I'm presuming in everyone's head we're still seeing a very similar formation, maybe a slight sort of shift in how they play, but we're still going with the same sort of 4-3-3 formation, however you want to call it, that we've become accustomed to under Arteta. So in terms of the holding midfielder, I think it'd be a big surprise if it's not Zubimendi, unless he's had an absolute horror show of a pre-season at this point. Everyone's watching it and he's had a nightmare against AC Milan and everything like that. But I'd be stunned if Zubimendi's not starting at Old Trafford. Yeah, he's just injured his shoulder in the first training session. Gabriel fell on him, apparently. Real shame. I was looking forward to seeing Zubimendi, but never mind, maybe in 3 months' time. No, I think he's nailed on, isn't he? And
the Odegaard signing is kind of the most backup signing in that sort of positions you could possibly get, isn't it? Like an experienced, steady hand rather than, a young upstart who'd have been kind of snapping at Zubamendi's heels. You've got someone who absolutely knows his place and his role in the squad. And I think that's a pretty clear sign that Zubamendi's got the keys to the team. We need to see how much United have shifted from last season, but they had quite an aging midfield at times, didn't they, with the likes of Casemiro in there. And from what we've seen of Zubamendi, this should really be a kind of stage where you can go and sort of lay down a real marker at a place like Old Trafford.
So Zubamendi's, he's played more than at least 40 games in each of his past 1, 2, 3, 5 seasons. Like, his reliability and availability is one of his like absolute strengths. So I'm going to confidently predict that something does go wrong with him fitness wise, because that's generally how it works with Arsenal. So I'm going to predict Odegaard starts because Zubamendi's managed to get injured.
That is the only way to get Odegaard in the starting 11. Dino takes it.
He's a good player. I'm telling you, he's a really good player.
Yeah, again, at the time of recording this, hopefully this is all done and dusted, but it has kind of made me just think how classic Arsenal that they're trying to sign this Mosquera at the time of recording. They've basically got him in the door. He's played 70 of 72 games for Valencia, clocked up more minutes than any under-21s player over the 5 leagues in the last 2 seasons. And according to unsubstantiated rumours, they've picked up something issue on the medical or something. It's like, how very, very Arsenal can that be? But again, that's just unsubstantiated. And hopefully at the time of recording this, he is already in the red and white and he has flown over and linked up with the rest of the squad. So Zubamendi starting in front of the back 4, and then the other 2 midfield spots. I mean, they kind of pick themselves, don't they? We're not seeing anything other than Odegaard and Declan Rice, are we?
Are you not starting Eze with Odegaard, or are you going?
No, Eze's coming off the bench to score the winner for me.
No, I think Rice Odegaard is. I mean, that midfield, it looks so good anyway. And then I remember when I was writing about when the Zubamendi deal was done, that they're all literally 26, absolute prime of career. That is a proper midfield that feels kind of multifunctional. If you wanted to, Rice can easily drop deep, Zubamendi can push forward. It just looks so good on paper, I think that. And again, Mikel Moreno is probably going to have to go back to use to kind of being that auxiliary extra man filling in there when needed. But I think it's going to be very hard, even if an Eze did come in to kind of displace those 3 playing together, unless you're kind of rotating the team. Yeah,
and also I think one of the like immutable laws of Declan Rice is that he plays well in big games.
Yeah,
Old Trafford away is just his territory. And Odegaard's the captain. So can't argue with those 2.
And we've got a whole season of Declan Rice on free kicks. I mean, that the kind of build up to all of those, A, with the cameras and B, with the crowd, is going to be completely different. Because I remember those few weeks after the Real Madrid game where everyone was just like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of Rice territory. You could shoot from it." And we're now going to have an entire season of that. I think basically, when in any sort of range, everyone will be expecting him just to put it top bins.
And obviously, Old Trafford,
it's a nice change. It's a nice change, isn't it? But whereas for the last 5 years, every time Arsenal got a free kick anywhere around the penalty area, I'm just sitting there like this, waiting for it to actually Martin Odegaard to float it into the wall. It's exactly the same as when Mesut Ozil used to take free kicks. I've got the exact same feeling over Odegaard. You just knew what was going to happen. It was going to be this really soft, floaty effort that goes straight into the wall. And it's like, why have you done that again for the 80th time in a row?
Ozil took free kicks like how Sam and I, when we warm up to play at the weekend, and you're kind of mucking around and sort of just like, I'm just swazzing this in there. That's how Ozil took free kicks when he was on £350,000 a week.
Yes. It used to drive me mad because he scored 1 free kick against Liverpool, I remember, at the Emirates. And just somehow that just allowed him to take every free kick going after that, pretty much, apart from when Sanchez was there. And he used to drive me crazy because he was terrible at them, just like Martin Odegaard was.
I feel like I'm the sort of I'm the negative guy. I don't mean to be, but I reckon one of my predictions for the campaign, I know we come on to this in a minute, but one of mine is that Declan Rice will not score another free kick for Arsenal. He had one of those nights where it's just like something happened, like the heavens were smiling on Declan Rice that day. He never scored one before, really. As far as
he had got about 350 games without scoring one before, before that night.
Everyone's now like, well, that's what Declan Rice does. Well, it's not really. It's what he does against Real Madrid in March 2024. That's what it's. Sorry, March 2025. Jesus, was that even April? I don't know. Whenever it was, that's what he does at that particular moment in time. But yeah.
So basically, you're saying that Martin Odegaard's going to be back on free kicks very, very soon at Arsenal. Brilliant. Got that to look forward to this season. Big season for Odegaard, though, isn't it? I mean, there's been a lot of question marks over him last season. He got lots of criticism for his performances. I did think he showed signs in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks of the season that we were starting to see coming back close towards his best. He scored a nice goal against Southampton on the final day, a sort of a goal that we had come to expect from Odegaard, which seems to have vanished from his Arsenal in the last year. So that was nice to see. But it is a big season for him, no doubt. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him and people expecting more from what we saw from him last year.
He started shooting again, which feels very basic analysis, but yeah.
It is true, isn't it?
In the most, we could have all this sort of fundamental things around sort of position and tactical stuff, but there was a part where it was just like, why has he not been doing that for ages? And I don't know. I mean, people with far better physio knowledge than me with the mechanics of an ankle injury, but is it possibly taking him that month, that long to kind of be feeling good on it again and the way he's been shooting? But yeah, I absolutely massive him. And I think the fact he's going to have had a proper pre-season, new holding midfielder behind him, new centre forward ahead of him. Yeah, I think expectations are going to be high with him.
Mm-hmm. Okay, everyone going with Madueke on the right wing?
Maybe on the. I mean, obviously Saka's playing right wing, but like, is there any part of you thinks that Madueke might start left wing?
I think if he
was on late arrival to pre-season, I guess.
I think that's probably going to. I think if he was on pre-season, I think if this game was in November, we were predicting it in November. And there's a real chance he might be the left wing starter. But I think the pre-season thing will definitely work against him because he's just not there, and that's not his fault. To be clear, I'm not blaming him. He needs a break massively. They all do. But yeah, I think that might work against him. So I'm gonna be bold and say Bukayo Saka starts on the right wing.
Yeah,
that is brave, Sam. That is
not
brave.
Dowman.
Not Dowman. I'll tell you what. Are we guessing the bench? Are we guessing the bench or not?
No, we're not going to. We're not going to guess the bench. Mainly because I've got to leave to pick my children up from school in about 15 minutes. So I'm going to run out of time to do that.
Left wing is much harder though.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not still be at the club, but if I was asking me now, I'd say Trossard will start left wing. I think Old Trafford away, I don't know, it feels quite Trossardy.
Rafael Leao.
And maybe Eze on the left.
Mate, you can choose who you want. You can do it. Yeah. You can choose who you want here.
I think Martinelli
players at the time recording.
I think Martinelli because you'd think first day of the season for United at home, they'll try and be aggressive. The fans will be up for it, and I think that might leave some space to run in behind for Martinelli. So I'll go Gabby Martinelli. I think. What about you?
I'm in agreement with you, Sam. I'm going Gabriel Martinelli in my one. So who plays up front?
Well, obviously it was devastating.
Everyone,
we broke down, didn't it? So that's a real shame.
Yeah. Remember, everyone, we are recording this before GYOKERES is signed. We don't know yet if that has gone through. So,
even if he came in, though, I would be inclined if if I had to put a bet on it, that it would be Havertz starting up front.
I think a lot depends on pre-season, though, doesn't it? I mean, if GYOKERES signs in pre-season and scores 4 against Spurs and 2 against Newcastle, and then comes back to the Emirates Cup and smacks in 3 against Villarreal, I think he would. You can't start Havertz then, can you? Can't.
When Havertz is fit, he just plays. It's another kind of.
But he's never had anyone else to pushing him for a spot, has he? But I know. I absolutely understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I think that this position, assuming GYOKERES all gets done, and right back, I think for a lot of the season are going to be the 2 positions where everyone is like, who'd you play? And you kind of had it a bit, last season with Martinelli and Trossard. Martinelli's form didn't. But I think throughout the season, like with right back, I do think you will be having a debate about who plays. And I would think it maybe becomes a kind of horses for courses kind of approach of who you play, which striker starts.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll get that conversation on the left-hand side as well, because I do think Madueke is going to be in the equation for left wing as well.
I think you've got to remember how Arsenal and Arteta see the Premier League and how much different and more difficult it is to play in than other leagues. So you've got obviously GYOKERES coming in, who's never played in the league before, doesn't know the flows of the game, hasn't experienced Old Trafford, which obviously is a very intimidating, huge atmosphere, the history of it. And then on the other hand, you've got a guy who's been banging in goals in the Premier League for years now, and he's just paid 100 million to get him from Newcastle. So Isak's going to have to start if he's going to be there. So it's absolutely without question for me that Isak will start ahead of GYOKERES for that first couple of games, and then GYOKERES will have to compete for him.
That's exactly what I think people would expect, though, isn't it? Because if you've gone from not getting a striker and then just buying 2 in the space of a week when we've been off.
So
I was sitting there like, oh.
I will be totally honest, but I completely glossed over all of that because I was just reading a tweet about GYOKERES. I was just flicking on, making sure we haven't missed anything, and something was, and I was reading Duncan Castle's tweet about GYOKERES that he's just put out. So I completely didn't hear a word you were saying.
I set myself up for the gag for like a good minute before I even delivered the punchline, and you weren't even listening.
I wasn't even listening.
Dino's picked Isak to start number 9.
Has he? I've been so used to glossing over your gags for the last 5 years. It just becomes kind of like second nature now that I prepare myself for these sort of situations. But who is everyone going for then up front? Who's starting out at Trafford? Who's in your team, Si?
HAVERTZ.
Sam?
Yeah.
HAVERTZ.
I'm going GYOKERES.
Nice.
So my starting 11 for Old Trafford then is Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Luis Skelly, Zubimendi, Odegaard, Rice, Saka, Martinelli, and GYOKERES. Sam, yours was Raya, White, wasn't it? You went White, Gabriel, Saliba, Luis Skelly, Zubimendi, Odegaard, Rice, Saka, Martinelli, and HAVERTZ. And
I went Norgard.
Oh yeah, Norgard. Sorry, no Zubimendi. And Si, you went Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Luis Skelly, Zubimendi, Odegaard, Rice, Saka, Trossard, and HAVERTZ. So let's see how wrong or right we are. Before we wrap this one up, just a few other sort of season prediction wise, just to rattle through very, very quickly. I've done this with James Benge on Inside Arsenal Extra Time, but wanted to get some of your predictions as well. Who's winning the title this season? Si?
I've predicted it the last 2 seasons and been wrong, so I'm loath to say Arsenal, but I'm going to say Arsenal.
Sam?
Liverpool.
Who scores more goals this season, GYOKERES or HAVERTZ? If GYOKERES signs, which hopefully by the time people are watching this, he has.
All comps or Premier League?
All comps.
GYOKERES.
And Premier League.
Premier League, HAVERTZ, all comps, GYOKERES.
GYOKERES both.
Okay. Will Saka score 20 goals plus in all competitions this season?
No.
Provided he doesn't have another injury, absentee like last time, yes.
That'll be the first time he's done it, isn't it? He's not done that yet, has he?
No.
Did you say Arsenal win the title? Sorry.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you've already answered this question sort of then. Sam, will Arsenal win a trophy this season?
Yes.
Which one?
One of them. I think Arsenal are going to win the League Cup.
In my predictions with James Benge on Extra Time, I predicted Arsenal were going to win the Premier League and the League Cup.
Oh, both.
So I've gone for the weaker domestic double, but a domestic double for Arsenal this season. Any other predictions we want to throw out there?
Can I put one in?
Yeah.
On the same theme, but I predict that Kai Havertz starts more Premier League games than Victor GYOKERES over the course of the season.
Nice.
You hate GYOKERES, don't you?
My prediction is Declan Rice will score 15 goals in all comps.
Oh, how many of them free kicks?
How many free kicks? 14? Yeah, 15 goals. I think he got 10 last season. 10?
That would be a lot for Declan Rice. You know, if Declan Rice is scoring 15 goals, Arsenal don't really need GYOKERES.
I think he's having. I've got a feeling he's going to. I know he had a pretty monster. I think he had 20 goal contributions, didn't he? 10 goals, 10 assists, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, my prediction is monster season.
I think if that's true, I think I would predict Rice PFA Player of the Year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went Saka actually on Arsenal. Who'd be Arsenal's Player of the Year this season? I went Saka. Nice and boring choice. But the fact that Saka even got voted into the top 3 last season suggests to me that as long as he's fit, he's gonna get Player of the Season when it comes to Arsenal. How many goals and assists is Eze going to get for Arsenal this season?
None, because he won't play for Arsenal.
50. Absolutely 50 on his way to winning the Ballon d'Or this season. Right, that is about it for our predictions. We do have a quick quiz before I have to run and pick my kids up from school. After my 5 out of 5 showing in the last episode, 100% record, not that I'm still living off that at the moment. I am the quiz master today, and it is a Guess the Gooner type quiz today. So it's quickest to the draw for you two. I think this one's relatively easy. So I think you're going to get this one fairly early. It's probably the kiss of death now. Right, you ready?
Yeah.
Pascal Segan.
No, not Pascal Segan. So I came through the academy at Arsenal alongside the likes of Alex Iwobi. Any early guesses?
Bellerin.
No. I made my senior Arsenal debut in September 2013 in the 3-1 win at Sunderland, the same game in which Mesut Ozil made his debut for the club.
Kieran Gibbs.
Incorrect. I guess, Si, before I move on?
No.
I made my second appearance just over a week later, and I scored a penalty in a penalty shootout win against West Brom in the League Cup at the Hawthorns.
Iwobi's generation. Why is that proving so difficult in my head? So he's the same age as Iwobi?
I don't know. I haven't looked
The
at
thing with Iwobi is he's like kind of so like, I associate him so much as being like the godfather of Hale End with all like those Willock and Nketiah and all that lot. Don't know.
He must be older than Iwobi.
I scored a late winner in a pre-season victory against the MLS All-Stars in 2016.
Chubacom.
Oh, he's got it!
Oh, yes, come on.
Good shout. God, you plucked that one out of nowhere. I thought you were both miles off at that point.
Wow.
Well done. I
That was a lucky guess.
I think the next one was I had 6 loan spells following those appearances, including stints at Brentford, Brighton, Forest and Hull. And then this one, I think you probably would have got it. I left Arsenal to move to Greece in 2018, having made just 12 senior appearances. I won the league in my first season in Greece. I returned to England in 2020, joining Middlesbrough for just under 3 million. I signed for Ajax in 2023 for a fee of just over 12 million. I ended last season playing my football in France with Lille. Well done, Sam. Bounce back ability there from your defeat against me a week earlier. Well, not a week earlier, about 20 minutes. About 20 minutes earlier. So thank you everyone for watching. That's about it for this one. Like I said, it was a bit different. I hope you enjoyed it. Just wanted to put some sort of content out for you while I was away on holiday with the boys. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I would say I'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again, but I won't. I'll probably be sitting on a beach in Portugal somewhere or on the golf course in Portugal somewhere. But I will be back very soon to start doing it all over again. So cheers, Si. Cheers, Sam. Have a good one, everyone. Speak to you soon.